ご視聴ありがとうございます。ぜひチャンネル登録お願いします。今後も応援していただければ嬉しいです。それではまた。
Hello you kawaii content creators and welcome to my review of Neptunia Virtual Stars. Now I'm just going to start this off by saying that this game is a mixed bag. There's plenty of things that it does well, but there's also quite a lot of things which could irritate you or just feel very tedious. For example, the actual start of the game is like 40 minutes long before you even get to do any gameplay. There's just a lot of cutscenes, lots of talking, lots of character introduction before anything really happens that you can actually take part in for yourself. You're very much just watching these cutscenes, so just sit back, relax, and just enjoy for a while, and then finally get into the game. And while that everyone is used to the anime aesthetic by now, the game does actually stand out quite a lot. It's very vibrant, and all of the different worlds and dungeons and the different stages and levels the game takes place in really does stand out. Overall, when it comes to the monsters, there's so many of the same monsters, like so many different palette swaps of the monsters instead of loads of different varieties. So yes, they are to signify that some are higher level, but it's just very annoying when you go, oh, not these again or these again, when you've clearly just fought them from like World 1 and they're still in like World 6. And during combat, the screen can get so busy that you can barely tell who you're shooting at, or where your bullets are going, or who you're doing melee attacks on. There's just so much going on that it's hard to see, especially when you're trying to look for like their health or their level or anything. It's too much sometimes. There's just too much going on. And touching briefly on the gameplay, the controls themselves and the aiming specifically does feel very stiff. You also have a boost function which just lets you slide everywhere, but it also stops and then you have to start it back up again. I don't see why that couldn't just be a sprint as opposed to a boost, or potentially just a dash, which you could just keep pressing, because it does get a little bit cumbersome when you're just trying to dash or boost into a certain direction, and it just feels very finicky. It feels very robotic-y. I know this is Virtual Stars, but it would still be nice if it was fluid. And while the gameplay itself does work, it's all quite serviceable. It doesn't do anything outrageously good or outrageously bad. The thing that really upsets me is that each boss that you fight feels the exact same, and you fight them the exact same way. There's no strategy or anything to them. It's literally just shoot them from far away. That seems to be the best bet, is just stay far away and shoot them, and then just wait, do your special move, and then just rinse and repeat until the boss is dead. Very rarely do you have to dodge, because you can just literally just tank hits, heal yourself if you have to, and then just keep shooting and firing. That's how every boss fight pretty much plays out. But there are things that do stand out that I actually really enjoyed. Like, firstly, the game is called Virtual Stars, and it features real VTubers or virtual YouTubers or Nico, whatever you want to call them. Okay, I know it's weird to say that they're real, but they're actually people that have made their own channels and have been guest appearance for this game, which I think is a great touch. I would love to see that happen more. We get more people kind of just get put into the game. I know Pokemon Let's Go did it, for example, when you had the champions. They chose some people, gone, right, you get a name. But this one, they actually get the VTubers to make a video, whether it's for the loading screen or for a quest, and actually get them to interact, which I think is a very nice touch. And you get to have collectible cards with them. I just think it's a good thing. Yes, the game itself is very fan servicey, so it just makes sense for it to have those VTubers and really cater towards the audience of the game, let's be honest. Another thing with the VTubers is you get to equip their cubes, and what these cubes do is they give you more skills or more abilities or enhancements, so whether that's increasing your attack or your defense or anything like that, it's just a nice little touch as well. And there's loads of different variants of each individual VCube which can give you different bonuses for each one. So it's not like one VTuber gives you this stat, they all have different nicknames or evaluations, so you can just keep finding those same VTubers if you have a favourite and find different stats for them to increase. So it's just a nice little touch. And there's loads of different mechanics in this game. It's not just a case of you only shoot or you only do melee. Obviously you can mix those both in by changing different players or different people that you can play as. There's also a rhythm game attached to this as well, which you can do and just get a little high score. It can be a little bit finicky sometimes because for whatever reason there's occasional frame drops in those sections, and if you're trying to get the timing base perfectly, it's obviously annoying when suddenly 1 or 2 frames or 10 frames just quickly drop for like 5 seconds. You're like, oh okay, now I've got to reset everything. But the fact that it's actually in the game and you can use those to record your different sessions in those dancing mini games, and then unlock cards by spending coins. There's just so much stuff for you to actually do to keep you just engaged and not just actually just going, right, okay, let's just progress, let's go to this world. There's loads of different quests, so many different tasks, so many different things for you to unlock in this game that it is just crazy. So if you do like that kind of stuff, you're going to be here for days just trying to get everything. There is so much for you to collect and do. One mechanic which really does stand out that I really did like is the actual boss mechanic. Yes, the boss fights feel the same, but you get different songs which you can find different like records and use those for these boss fights. And what they do is you kind of fight along to the rhythm of the song, in the fact that certain points of the song will give you a stat boost, certain points in the song will give your boss a stat boost. Other times it will help you increase your emotions, so you can do a massive super attack, like an overdrive attack, and you get 2 of those. So again, there's so many different things which have just been added in to spice things up a little bit. It really is a shame that it didn't go a bit more in depth with it and make the boss fights as fun as they could and perhaps should have been. It's a shame that those boss fights really are lackluster, because that mechanic in itself, those record mechanics, are a lot of fun, and I really like that idea. Speaking of those songs, the soundtrack itself is pretty good. There's loads of different flavours, loads of different remixes, and again, every song that you hear in the game, you can literally just do a Dance Dance Revolution minigame too as well. So again, it's just one of those things that if you do like it, you can just mess around, record those, send them wherever. It's fine, because that's kind of what this whole game is for you to do that kind of stuff. Speaking of, you can customize the appearance of each individual character. You can get different outfits, you can find loads of accessories which give you little stats and abilities. There's just a lot to do as far as customizing your character in however weird and wonderful way you want to. If you want to give Neptune a massive dog ears, big old wings, and then just a little guitar on the front, go for it. That's what the game wants you to do. And the last thing I'll touch on is that while I said the graphics aren't going to blow you away, one thing I really did like was that during the cutscenes, the actual animations of the characters are really good, and they're so expressive. Like the different facial expressions they show, the different styles of animation to express their emotion. It's just really well done. It is a bit of a shame that some of them are very lengthy, but it's just how it goes. I mean, it's a JRPG at heart, at least this franchise is. So of course it's going to have lengthy? Yeah, why not? Of course it's going to have lengthy cutscenes. Do I recommend Neptunia Virtual Stars? It's a tough one to say yes, because in my opinion, while like the characters are fun, the gameplay's okay, there's nothing that's necessarily bad, there's nothing that's necessarily overly good for me to recommend it. And it feels very much like a game which you play in between games, or you haven't really got anything to do, so you're like, okay, I've got 45 minutes spare, an hour or so spare, I'll just play this for a bit. So it's one of those games which you really do play in between games, or if you just can't think of what to do, you just put that on for a little bit and then you go, oh, actually I'll do this instead. It's very hard to fully recommend this and go, right, yes, you desperately need to play this game. If you really like collecting stuff, then sure, go for it, because there's loads for you to collect. But if you really want a good in-depth game, the story's okay, it's kind of interesting, like the whole Neptunia franchise itself is quite interesting in that respect, but the game itself, I can't really go, yes, you should definitely play this. Give it a try, see how you like it, but I wouldn't say rush out and buy it instantly.